Hello and welcome. In this video, we will understand the differences between signal events and message events. Signals are used to broadcast the messages across processes and will be received by the wait signals. So signals will be, if you see in this diagram here to the right, signals will be of type with the triangular shape here. This one will be your intermediate event. This would be your intermediate throw type. This is catch type. And you can also end your process using a signal like this, or you may start the process using this. The main difference between a signals versus a message type events, like message is these type events, right? Signals are used to broadcast your messages across instances which are waiting. The messages are generally used to broadcast the message within that instance. So how these both are different is the messages will use something called correlation keys, which will make sure that a message will be posted to a particular instance. Signals will not have any correlation thing, something like that. So it will be broadcasted to any of the instances, any number of instances which are in the wait state at that point of time. So generally you will use signal type events to synchronize start of multiple processes in the same time. So if you have a lot of processes which have a signal start event, you will post a signal that will be broadcasted across to all those processes which has this signal type of event into your start. So this is where if you want to send an email, let's say it's an email process where you want to broadcast this email to all the customers, then you will use a signal type of event in your process to trigger it. Messages, however, will be generally stick within the same instance. Okay. Now let's see a demo of signal versus message process. Okay. So I've created two processes which looks very similar. It has a start and an end with one event in between. So it's an intermediate signal event, and then I have a user task to show you that it has come from this process. In a similar fashion, I have created one more process where I just changed the node to message type. So once you click the node, you are presented with this particular properties panel. In the general section, you will define the message. So once you drag it, generally it won't be there. So if I just show you like this, there's nothing here, right? So it shows empty. The way you add it is you click on this small plus icon and then you can change it to your wish. So message one or something like that. So this will be your ID of your message. Okay. So I have used that and named it as my message for simplicity for this one. And in the signal process, I have defined this as my signal. Okay. So let me deploy both of them. We will see how this thing works when comparison to the message process. Okay, let me put this as part 2 so that it is like two different deployments. I see that both of them deployed. We will see first signal process and then we will work through the message instance. Okay, let me go to the cockpit and search for the deployments here. I do a refresh. So we have both our processes come up quite well. So let's go to the task list and start the process. So the part 1 is for your signal, so I'll say it's a signal process, something like that. So I'm going to start this. I will start one more to show you that it can be broadcasted to multiple instances. So I'm going to start 2 instances for signal process. Let's see in the cockpit. I'm going to the process, going for the part 1 here. So as we can see that there are 2 instances below waiting for the signal. So the way you post the signal message is using your Camunda REST APIs. So I'll be going here. So I have chosen this particular API, which is localhost 8080 engine REST /signal. It takes few things, like it takes the name of the signal and optional variables if you want to send it. I think we have seen this kind of signal event when we are talking about event gateway, right? So it's the same payload. Let me quickly validate if that is the name of the signal or not. I said my signal. Let me go here. Okay, so it is my signal. I'm gonna post it. So once I post this, what should happen is both these instances should move to this particular task. So that way we are saying that a signal posted will broadcast to all the instances which are waiting. Okay, let me post that. So I click send, I get 204 no content. That means it is successful, but the server is not returning anything. So that's a good thing. Let's come here and let's refresh this once to see where it is. So as you can see, both the signals got activated and moved to the next step. So it got processed. So this way the signal is used to broadcast to multiple instances. It doesn't matter. You have two instances which are of the same type. So I have used the same process here. You may create another process with the same signal name, and if it is active, even that will get activated. So in this way, you can trigger multiple nodes which are in waiting signal state to get activated and processed at the same time using the signals. Now let's see messages, which is a little bit different to this. The API looks similar, however, you will have few differences to it. Let's say it's a message process. I'm gonna start this. Okay, and I want to show you one more thing before I go forward. So in the messages, you will use something called correlations. Okay, the correlation is like your unique keys within an instance to identify it. So it will be like your business key, or if you want to specifically provide some variables for your node, which will significantly show that it is the different from other instances, you may do that. The way you do it is you click here on this node, you write the message name. When you go to the input outputs area, you may define the variable. So I have chosen a variable named 2, which is a name, and I chose from this drop down a string. You may give a map, list, or script based on your requirement. So for here, I'm just saying that I want a correlation to be both my business key, which I've done it, and the other one will be this variable. So it will match these two things, and only then it will process it. Okay, so let me just copy this and put it to our postman. I'm saying that my message will have something called my variable 2. Sorry, it's a variable 2, and it takes a value some variable 2 of type string. And you may optionally send extra process variables. So here I have used some other variables like this. I have created one more variable which is another variable, and one more is and another variable. So you can do anything just to show you that you can add process variables from your message even to the process. So I just showcase that here, which is a similar thing which you can do in your signals as well, right? You put variables and give the key of the variable, which is your name of your variable, and its value. In similar fashion, it has a different structure, so you'll give process variables here, and then you provide the key and value. This type is optional. It is inferred that if you send a string type of key, then it is value is also string type. So it is always good practice to give what is the type of variable you are sending. So I'm going to give this 2. And there is some other difference which you will see is I'm providing a correlation keys here. This is where I have defined my variable to be matched with this one. So this will say that your instance is only this one, and only the instance which has this key, this business key, and this correlation, only that will move forward. So let me quickly see the instance what we have created here. So I go to the processes and I see if there are anything got triggered, so I can see that. Let me see what is my business key, which is this one, right? The message key, which has these values right now. Okay, so let me get this message key, and I'm going to update the business key to this one, and I will validate if the message name is same as my message or not. So I come here, click on general, and it is my message. So we are good there. I will validate if the variables are same too, just in case, one last time. I'm going to click here. The name of the variable is a variable 2 and some variable 2. So we are expecting that this particular one should get triggered. Just to show you the difference, I'm going to create one more instance of this so that we can clearly understand the difference. I'm going to start one more, which is of type this one. I will say this time this is my message process 2. So this is my another unique correlation for this particular instance. Now if I go back, I should see two instances running, but with two different correlation keys. I'm going to post for the first one, so only one node will move. Okay, let's see that. Click send. So you see that it gave me 200 with some other data here. Okay, this is what it is. So far this is your instance which got posted. So whatever you triggered, it was applied to this particular process instance ID. So let's see that what happens. I'm going to refresh it. So you can see only one got moved forward. In case if you have same business keys for this particular instance, then it will throw you an error saying that only one should be there for a message type. Okay, just to prove you that, I will use this particular key again, which is my message process 2, and then I'm going to start the same thing again, which is my process 2 here. This time I'm going to use same correlation key, which will error you. So the only option you have would be to change your variable for it to be unique to make it run. Okay, I'm going to start one more instance. Let's go to the cockpit and see now. You have two process instances with two different variables, two with the same business key. Now let me use this one to post it, and let's see what Camunda will say here. Okay, I'm going to post this and see here. It is saying that correlation with the message has two process instances, but only one is expected, and it doesn't understand which one to post. Okay, the correlation keys here, if you see, it is taking a variable 2, which is of some variable 2, and this. So now you cannot post this. For you to make this work, the only way is you have to update your correlation, where again you will go to this particular instance, and here you have to update this. Okay, so you need to click this pencil icon and make this some variable 3. Okay, or you give Abhi, something like that, and click. Now this one is updated to Abhi. Now let's try to post this with the same instead of variable 2, let's post it as Abhi. Now let's see if this works out. I click send, and you see that it has successfully took it. So the correlation is what defines your message and which instance to pick, etc. So you can define different correlations here in their keys. So correlation keys will be your variables or a list or anything you can use, which will uniquely identify your message in that instance. So if I come back to the definitions now, I can see that two of them move forward and one is still waiting, which is the one which has some variable 2, right? So I can move this forward by using the same one here, some variable 2. Now let me post this. Even that move forward. So now we should see all 3 tasks coming to my message process. So again, you can just go here and complete all those tasks if you wish to. You can see those 3 tasks, and Signal has 2. So in this way, you should be able to understand the difference between a signal and a message, and where do you use a message events versus signal events in your process, and what is the significance of each type of it. So both your signals and messages have an ability to give variables or to provide variable data to your process. However, the significant difference is signals are used to broadcast messages across multiple instances, but messages are used only for one instance. Okay, so that's it. I'll see you in the next video.